What is happening? What is happening? Welcome to the No Backboard Basketball League show. I'm your host, Mark T, and I'm excited today. This is me spinning back up a series of podcasts, getting back into something I really enjoy doing, and that is interviewing and having great conversations with very interesting people. And I'm very excited today to have as the first guest in this reiteration of the No Backboard Basketball League show. A man of wisdom, a man of integrity, a man I've met about 15, 17 years ago, I believe. And at that time, this gentleman was I believe he was a Navy vet at that time. He was a young man um, in Prime America with financial services. And since then, and it's been a while since we've actually spoke, since then he's gone on to get his PhD, published a book or two, and he's teaching, has his own media company, and he is evangelizing effective, applicable financial literacy undergirded with Christian kingdom principles. So I'm excited to have a conversation with him about NIL and his thoughts as a layman, meaning a non-sports industry person, but a financial expert, his thoughts on what young athletes and families should take into consideration with the opportunities of NIL that are emerging. So without further ado, I want to introduce my man, Dr. Joseph Blake Jr. Dr. Joe, what's happening?
What's going on, Mark? It's good to see you.
It is great to see you, sir. And I appreciate you joining me today and, helping me kick this off. And
Good,
uh,
good.
I'll say this: it's interesting, and I believe the Spirit gave me this revelation. Is that I did have someone else scheduled to do this first episode, but they had to reschedule. And considering where I'm at with the No Backboard Basketball League, aka Basketball the Remix, um, I thought it was just appropriate to have the first person on, someone who saw the early efforts almost 17,
Yes, yes.
18 years ago. So with that, how you doing, man? It's good to have
Doing
you. It's
good.
good. You look good.
Doing good. Yes, yes. I do remember those the first days because you were a student in the business school at Azusa, the church that we went to, and I remember you bringing that forward with Jerry Watkins and some of the other instructors there, and it was that time was a special time in life where we were going through the school and we were teaching all the business owners there about creating a business plan, getting the marketing program put in place, and to see the end. This is not necessarily the end result, but seeing the fruits of those results happen is a wonderful thing, and I'm proud to see the results of what you put your life into, coming forward, and so I'm glad to be able to share in the fruits of your labor and seeing you still pushing forward in those efforts. So I commend you for doing that.
I appreciate that, and uh, you said something very insightful. This is my life. And that's a distinct. This is my life. I've committed the rest of my life to bringing forth this vision and leaving something that um, several generations after me can sit under the tree, enjoy the fruit of, and
Yeah.
enjoy the benefits of what I'm looking to accomplish. But we're going to get to that. What I would like to do is for my audience is to let's introduce you a bit. Let's go down and learn a little bit more about
Okay.
Dr. Joe Blake. But really, let's start off with Joe Blake before he became Dr. Joe Blake, and tell us about in the beginning. When I asked the question, tell us about in the beginning. Start at the point where you started this journey you're on now, committed to teach financial literacy and helping individuals and small
Okay.
businesses build wealth.
In the beginning, I was actually a military firefighter. I was in the Air Force for 13 years, and I got out the Air Force. And on my way out the Air Force, I started learning about finance. And you're right, I got licensed through Primerica, but I was licensed, and I got licensed in 1994,
Mm,
and I'm still licensed. So that's been 29 years in the making. So I've sat down with thousands of folks, got them started, and I still licensed and sharing the knowledge, wisdom, understanding about being financially independent, about being building wealth. And what I love about what I do is I'm able to open the minds to individuals, and because I grew up from being in from Baltimore, Maryland. I was on welfare, man, and
mm,
I remember uh, not having what I wanted to have or thought I would have, even though my mom did her best. Don't get me wrong, my mother did the
mhm.
best she could because she ended up getting a job and everything. But Baltimore is not the greatest place. It's not the easiest place to grow up from. It's a rough city, but I was able to go from that to being where I'm at now. And I know that I remember my journey is my journey. And, a lot of us have that journey. And it was,
Mhm.
you know, I learned so much now that it's just amazing. So I like to share what I know and what I've grown from, and even in my book, to get to where I'm at. And it's my life purpose. God put in my life, put in my mind and my heart and my soul to be able to share what I know with others. And in the beginning, it wasn't always like that.
Would you say that it was coming from the city of Baltimore and the financial economic conditions that you arose out of was the impetus? It's like, hey, I got to figure out this money game because I would like to have my family in a better situation when I become a grown man.
Yes, it was. It was because, one thing being on welfare, I remember this was like in the mid 70s.
Hmm.
You had paper money, but then in the beginning, man, you gave them a paper. I got to dig on food stamps somewhere around here. I still got one. Okay, but they gave you the food stamps to give you, you pay for it, and then back then they would give you plastic chips as coins. And as a kid, I get the plastic chips back, and I said, you know what? This is jacked up. And I was like, even as a kid, I was saying, this is jacked up. I don't want this. I was like, but I know I needed it because I had to go back to the store to get back and get something. I was like, man, this is some jacked up stuff right here, man. I don't want, I was like, I am not going through this again. I said, this is not happening anymore. Being a kid, I knew that was not something I wanted to go through again. It was a stop sign, a stoplight at that point in my life that that's not going to happen again. It wasn't going to happen to me, and it wasn't going to happen to my kids because I was going to make sure that I didn't know how, but I was going to make sure it wasn't going to happen again.
Amen to
And
that. And
yeah,
did I hear this clearly? So you would take the paper welfare certificate, do a transaction with it, and they would give you change in plastic coins. Did I hear that correctly?
yeah,
So those plastic coins could only be redeemable within the welfare system. Is that correct?
right, yeah,
That's an example of a tokenized economy, right?
yeah.
I'm on this blockchain thing and NFTs and tokens. That is an example of a tokenized closed economy. Wow. Oh,
Right there,
wow.
right there,
Okay.
right there. See that's a welfare. That's the
I see it. I see it. I'm sure you keep that as a reminder to it's good to have those reminders to let us know how far we've come and yet how far we still have to go, if you would.
yeah. It is a prop for an analogy that I share. But yeah,
That's what's up. So um it my next question is obvious, but what is your passion, man? And what is your passion? What is your why? When you articulate your why for what you do with financial service, how would you articulate that?
my passion is to provide an understanding and learning. And part of what, as it says there, by actionable financial literacy,
Mm-hmm.
my Actionable knowledge is actually derived from this guy called this guy named Chris Argyris. He was a Harvard
Hmm.
University professor.
Hmm.
And when I did my research for my PhD, I based my philosophy on that on his knowledge. Actionable knowledge basically means that you took where you learned that knowledge and understanding, you're able to recreate that learning outside of the area where you learned from. So we can be talking about knowledge and wisdom here, but you're able to recreate that learning outside of where you learned it. So when I show someone how to understand and learn about financial literacy, they're able to recreate their learning outside, because not just apply it, not just use it, but recreate the whole learning process outside of where they learned it at. That way, it actually are able to not necessarily multiply it, but that learning process is recreated, recreated. So others are able to learn from it as well. So because I'm come from an environment that's like Baltimore, I'm able to make it simplified, so enough people can understand it. Yeah, I'm kind of technical now because I have the PhD, but I still know where I came from, and I because the main reason I got my PhD was not for nobody else. It's not for any one other person. I did that for me and my mama.
Amen.
That's
That's
why
what's
my
up.
book is dedicated to my mama. That's why I got it. And people they say, well, you got it because you want to be Dr. Blake. And I said, nope. And when I heard Dr. Blake, you know what I hear? I heard Loretta Blake's son. That's my mom's name, Loretta Blake. So when they say
Much
Dr.
respect.
Blake, I heard Loretta Blake's son. That's what I hear. So my passion is doing this because this is for my mama, and I'm helping other people.
It's interesting that Deion Sanders recently was quoted that for his quarterbacks, he looks for someone who comes from a two-parent household, because that's often going to reflect a little bit better decision making, responsibility, maturity, etc. And he says for his defensive linemen, he looks for men that come from single family homes, because these are the guys that are hungry and they want to make it for the mama. They're driven by getting the mom out of that financial situation she's in. So, and a lot of what I do is also motivate to make my mom proud, and to put a smile on her face. I was thinking though, I recall when you was doing your PhD, and help me here, and you were doing a survey, I believe, about, I think, those in the something about understanding Christian biblical principles and if they actually were being applied in people's lives.
That's correct.
Take a couple of minutes and elaborate on that, because I see that ties into ultimately to what you're doing now. And what I love is this consistent thread throughout your journey and throughout your story, and it's continuing to unfold in different iterations.
Yep. My research is based is my actual title for my research is The Influence of Financial Literacy on Faith-Based Epistemology, a case study of his Arizona church members. So technical term, but it's
Mhm.
epistemology is study of knowledge. And what I was looking for is what was causing Christians to be stuck financially uh, in their lives. And so
Mhm.
I looked at what was important to them financially, and then
Mhm.
also what they were doing about it. So the
Mhm.
survey helped me identify what was causing them to be stuck and what they were doing about it. And I looked at it from a biblical standpoint because one of my claims to fame is I read the Bible front to back on 8 different occasions, eight or
Wow.
nine different occasions. And so one Bible actually was an NIV version because it had all of the subscriptures and notes with it. Took me
Mhm.
3 years to read that bad boy because it's, I read it all. I just reading is just one of the things that I love to do. so
Yep.
and so I read through it. But so I'll give you an example. One question I asked is um, uh, uh, how many times I said what scripture do you use to that what scripture do you apply to the Bible? And then I asked him, have you ever read your life insurance policy?
Mm.
And so they read the Bible, but they can't do their life insurance policy. And that's about both of those about life, but have a hard time with it. And then here recently, I did a podcast where I talked about two different questions too, but they're related. Which would you prefer? Would you refer to earn $1 million or win $1 million?
I'd rather earn $1 million
How come?
because of I have the knowledge of how to do it. You can never take that knowledge away from me.
Right. Now, some people want to win it because they feel winning is instamatic, and they can get it right then and there. But you're right.
Mhm.
If you learn how to earn it, you can teach someone else how to earn it as well. And so, sometimes in our society and our people, the win mad attitude is there. They want to win it. They got it, and nobody else can get it. But then you leave the rest of your folks out because they don't know how to earn it again. But you got yours. They got theirs to get, and you leaving all those people out. That's why I like act with actionable knowledge. You're able to recreate that learning process outside of the place where you learned it from. So you can teach others how to do it, others how to do it, others how to do it.
Let's use that right there to transition into NIL, name, image, and likeness, because that's exactly the theme behind what I'm looking to do in coupling the No Backboard Basketball League with NIL is to incentivize young men, young men and women, to incentivize them to take the right behaviors in learning what you need to do, so you can take the right behaviors to produce the right results at the
Okay.
end of the day. And that it is something that is they learn transferable skills. So through um, starting a small business, through negotiating those contracts, through executing those contracts, through receiving that money, through paying the taxes on that money, through a strategy to use that money when they're done with their athletic career and no longer can leverage this NIL, they have transferable knowledge that they can
Hmm.
take and use in other areas of their lives and not only have a better start with a stronger financial base at 22, 23 years old,
Hmm.
but also a launching pad into a career. So with that, when I initially reached out to you and shared with you, and thank you for responding. Thank you for responding because I made a clarion call and you responded. And I like to think when people I know make the clarion call, I'm going to respond as well. So I want to thank you for that. And
Yeah.
I sent you a playlist of a couple of videos that provide comprehensive overviews of what NIL is and the opportunities facing these young people.
Yeah.
What was your initial reaction when you got through that information and had an opportunity to kind of digest it from your seat as a financial literacy teacher, understanding, and specifically my target market is not the 5-star athlete. It's
Right.
not the guy that's the kids are going to get 150,000, $1 million through before they graduate college. My audience I'm targeting is more like maybe they're going to go 4 years to school and they're able to generate $1,500, $2,000 a month through NIL.
Okay.
What was your initial
Okay.
thoughts on that
Well,
information you sent over?
the whole concept is great because it gives a young kid an opportunity to kind of somewhat generate some initial wealth in their lives that can set them up for later down in the future. That type of opportunity was not there before, so this can be a chance to set themselves up for the future. So you have to, in this case, you have to look at yourself and prepare for the future. Now, uh, what as I wrote my book, I defined what financial literacy is, and then what it means to be a financially literate individual. The term financial literacy is just floated around every day, but a lot of people use financial literacy as a product or a service. But
Mm,
to define financial literacy is the ability to gain access to economic information and make use of those concepts. So that's what financial literacy is.
Can you
It's
repeat that?
gaining, yes, gaining access to economic information and then be able to make use of those concepts. So that's financial literacy. But the end goal is for you, the individual, to become a financially literate individual. That way you can make decisions financially, take and then make those decisions. You know how to get the products or service or whatever you may need to make those actions come to fruition for you to be a financially independent individual. So it's not a product, service, um, or any type of thing that people has to sell. You have to understand how to get the information and knowledge and make use of it, so you can be a financially astute person. So when someone says, "Yeah, I got financial literacy," it's this product right here. No, that's not financial literacy. That's their product. So we're not talking about a product. You understand, getting information and make use of it. Then you can be a financially, set person because you know how to do what you got to do. So with that, so that person, that young guy, that young individual, they have a skill, talent, and ability. They use that skill, talent, and ability to maximize what they're able to get. And over that 4 year period, you get 5 grand a month. That 5 grand a month over 4 years, you put that, you use that. You got, I know you got to use that to live a little bit, but you can put some of that away. And by the time you get to your end goal, you're a millionaire.
Hmm. So let's let's leverage that. Let's let's create a hypothetical case study. Okay, let's 18-year-old just going to college. He's able to he has NIL opportunities presented. Him and his mother come to you for some financial literacy and assistance with coaching him through the appropriate actions to get him set up to be able to receive that income and then to chop it up appropriately to deal with today and tomorrow. What's step 1, 2, and 3 in your mind, hypothetically?
There's a basically I Windows put in place to set them up, and one is for a short-term plan where we set up like 6 months worth of his income. There's a long-term plan that will take care of any emergency needs that need to set up for, like if you pay for auto insurance, life insurance, car insurance, pay those things on an annual basis is cheaper. One would be somewhat like a retirement plan that is set them aside for maybe a 15, 20 year goal. And then there's a I love me if you're single, or we love us if you're married, for whatever things you may want to do. Could be traveling, could be a trip, could be one when you're a guy is a technology fund. You got to have a big screen TV and things like that. Uh, but and if you're a girl, you like to shop. Well, some guys like to shop, man. You get
Yeah.
like all kinds. So 4 basic funds to kind of get you going, and one is to live for the day, and the other one's a plan for tomorrow. So you have those 4 basic funds set up, and then if you get more funds coming in, we got a plan for what you need to put in them, and then if you get more additional funds coming in from NIL contract, we'll just build those funds up, or put others in place. But you start out with those 4 basic ones, and then that helps you plan now for tomorrow. But
And
what I'm
the way I'm visualizing it, if I had a pitcher of water and I'm pouring it over, I got 4 different cups, with the first cup being the 6 months, and then the second one, long-term emergency, then relationship, I love you. Is, is that the way I should visualize that? That I'm pouring that out and that initial money comes in, I'm filling up the first one, then it rolls over into the second one and to the third one, like that.
Yeah, you have 4 basic ones you pour into. So it's not all in. It's not going all into one. You have to have. It's like going down the freeway. You're in a race, and you
Mm-hmm.
got a car, and you got a car in each lane. You're gonna
Right.
you're gonna win. You're gonna win either way.
Right.
So you got to have the planning process, and what goes in what bucket. That's when I'll put we have to do a plan that shows you what you need to do for each one. And it's best to, in the beginning, to act like nothing changed.
Mm.
The best act like nothing changed until you set that foundation. Because sometimes
Mm,
people get, that's why I asked if you got $1 million today, what would you do with it? That was one of the questions in my survey.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you received would you rather get, it was 10,000? Would you rather receive 10,000 a day, $10,000 today, or $10,000 in 10 years? Which would you prefer, and why?
Well, I always want the money up front because I always want the money up front because the money is more valuable today than it is tomorrow. And
Yeah,
then I can leverage, compound it if I choose to invest it, et cetera. Then I get the benefit of time and compound interest to help that money grow. So as because we constantly have inflation and taxes as a penalty to the money that we increase, right? So we have to get our money working for us
yeah.
above and beyond the
Now,
saving rates.
now, the oldest guy in my research study and the youngest guy said the same thing. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand the oldest guy, but the oldest guy was like close to 80, and the youngest
Mm-hmm.
guy was like 20, and he used the
Hmm.
same exact words. I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow, so I want it now.
Mm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
know the older guy can understand his saying it, but the youngest guy
Mm-hmm.
was like, "What do you mean you may want to live tomorrow, man? You 20? What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Said the same words, man. So, but you're right. You got a point. I want it now, but I can understand that the 80-year-old saying that, but not the 20-year-old. Whoa, So yeah, it's
Elaborate on that. So what's the opposite side and the opposite side and what supports the opposite view of what I mentioned?
well, the fact that someone is 80 years old, they may not have much more to go. So
Correct.
he's gonna want his up front. So you can kind of understand that, but sometimes people live longer than that, But
Mm-hmm.
him saying no, I need it now because I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. So you can kind of say, okay, yeah, go and get your money. You go and take it now. The 20-year-old is like, look, man, you got a little bit more time. You may want to let it grow a little bit more before you take, at least for 10 years before you get it, because he may have some time on his hand. But at the
Right.
same time, no one knows what a day may bring because God may call you up whenever,
Mm-hmm.
but you never know. But in general terms, that 20-year-old is going to live a little bit longer. So if he left it alone, it can grow a little bit more. But I just found in that instance of that survey for them to use the same words
Mm. Mm-hmm.
was was just startling.
So from your experience with this NIL space, what and your on the ground experience talking to people, the average American, the average um, middle class American out there, what do you anticipate some of the initial challenges may be with families as they effort to process this whole name, image, and like this opportunity?
Well, it's something new, and whenever sometimes there's something new comes along, you're going to have an initial level of excitement that comes along with it. Say, oh wow, we can get rich quick, and that's why that one question: which would you rather? Would you rather win a million or earn a million? So in some cases, people look at that and say, "Oh, this we're going to be millionaires. We can do this," and they think it's a win scenario, thinking more is going to come. Well, more may come, more may not come. You never
Mm-hmm.
know because something, an injury could happen, and that ends that prospect. Um, yeah, and so many things now, like social media, something can happen in social media, and a young person could say or do something, and then that livelihood is gone. What's that young man from the Buffalo Bills? He got injured.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, something freakish like that could happen, and then that
Mm-hmm.
could like jeopardize that whole scenario of being a ball player for a long period of time, and we still don't know how that's going to play out in his life. So that's why it's important to initially, plan for it all, and you plan for a few years, and after you plan for those few years, and then you get to a certain point, then you can. Well, you really can't. You don't want to act like a fool anyway, but still, you know what I mean. You want
So
to plan for it.
So, and from your uh, have you given any thought to what type of formal structure a young athlete may want to take? Like some athletes may think they can just go out and take this money under their personal name, under their personal social security number, and therefore manage their taxes under the personal tax code, etc. Some people may think they need to form an actual like S corp or C corp. uh, do you have any thoughts for, again, the average 18-year-old, him and his mom, maybe him and his mom and dad are processing how are we going to organize ourselves to take in this NIL money and then effectively manage it using the 4-point plan that you mentioned?
It all depends. I mean, if they can have an LLC, they can have a nonprofit organization. It depends on how they want to structure, because not everybody have a business mindset uh,
Mm-hmm.
in that nature, where they have to uh, shelter the assets that are coming in. It'd
Mm-hmm.
be a good thing to do if they put it in a if they're doing a name, image, and likeness as a business. That may be a
Yes.
good. That may be a good thing for them to do. And make, because that name, image, and likeness is just that. It's a name, image, and likeness. They treat it as a business. Uh,
And that's what I see. If we were to extrapolate out to what professional athletes do,
mhm,
LeBron James is not signed in that contract with the Lakers. There's a corporation representing LeBron James that's signing over LeBron James employment efforts to the Lakers, right? So many of the smart professional athletes have structured themselves as businesses,
mhm.
as well as many of the entertainers. They structure themselves as businesses, and that's my thinking, Dr. Blake. My thinking is to encourage them again for that. Uh, Earn opportunity, that opportunity to learn something that now can be actionable in another area, the opportunity to form and themselves as an LLC, as an organization, and to interact with these sponsorship opportunities in that format and pay the taxes, etc. Do you think that could help them when they are out of college and they go off in the corporate world, but hey, I'm going to spin up a part-time job or a part-time hustle to have that knowledge to
Yes, it
spin up a
would help them.
business?
Yeah, I do believe that would be an advantage for them. Um, it's a whole lot to understand, but they would have to well, find someone like you, and have resources that are around them to help them learn that process. Because sometimes, if they don't have someone with a good heart, an understanding, and have their best interests in mind, someone could take advantage of them. And that's where, and especially the young uh, inner city type, somebody can run right over them. And
And you nailed it, because I mean, historically that has been the case, and exploitation of young athletes have
mhm,
historically, we hear about those stories year in and year out. And to your point, that's my drive, right? So our
mhm,
my objective with what I'm forming is the new Hoopers Collective, which is going to be an independent collective that's going to work with 18 to 20 year olds here in Arizona. The vision is across the country as we build out our no backboard basketball training facilities. We want to operate these NIL programs within there. We believe that we can eventually serve up to 10,000 NIL eligible athletes across the country through our network of no backboard basketball training gyms and video studios. And the programming I'm envisioning is that training is to bring in experts like yourself, people in business formation, insurance, financial planning, personal branding. Jerry Watkins is going to join our team as long as you. To be able to have those resources so that as they go through our new Hoopers Collective, we're educating them, we're promoting them and elevating their value in the NIL market because we provide the exposure of these basketball players playing a more challenging game that demands more skill. Obviously, if they do well with it, it's going to be obvious to everybody that they're good basketball players. So this will hopefully elevate their value to coaches, as well as elevate their value to the NIL market, assuming that we'll be able to help enhance their audience. And then to your point, give them a level of community consciousness by requiring them in exchange for the quid pro quo of our NIL program. One of the things you need to do is participate in community service, right? So the whole idea is we bring the athletes in to work with us on their off season or year round. We're going to be a supplement and a complement to what they're doing with basketball, not a distraction or pull away. And then when they come out on the other side from working with us, they have the basic foundation of business organization, personal branding, knowing how to pay the taxes. They have their financial plan. They have a concept of long-term wealth creation. And they've made some money that's working for them.
Right.
So when they age out of the NIL space, they're ready to rock. And that ready to rock could be they're really ready now for some type of professional career, be it internationally, or they're ready to rock to go into the workplace with that knowledge, right? Because every now and then I run across a young person that tells me they got a 401k and they're not using it, and the employer is matching it. Right. So we want our young people walking out into the world with the knowledge to take advantage of those type of tools.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I've taught all of my kids, because I have 4 adult children. All 4 of my children have master's degrees. All 4 of them.
Bravo.
And, yeah. Because I made sure when they were young, I made sure they understood about it. They all 4 of them are investing clients of mine. So I make sure they know that too as well. And you're talking about international money. See this right here?
Yeah.
I have a this is a euro. This is a dollar from Cambodia. This is a Thai baht. This is South Korean won. And these are dollars from what's that country called? Zimbabwe. All these are foreign, they're dollars. But the thing is, and this is the American dollar right here. You know about American dollars. But see, each country has their own wealth. But you can't take a dollar and then use it in any of these countries. You have to do an exchange in order to use it. So money is what that society says money is. So you have to understand that every country has their own measure of wealth. So just because you're making a dollar here is not the same in another country. You have to go to that country and know how to make it. So just like we have you sitting in a chair, I'm sitting in a chair, and there's other chairs in your office. The idea of creating that chair, you can create that chair in any country and sell that chair and make money or their dollar in their country because you all know how to create that. You have the idea of creating the chair. So the basketball players, they can play basketball in any country because that's an idea of creating sports and still make money in that type of dollar. So that's what when you talk about financial knowledge and literacy, we're talking about how to create an idea to create wealth in those different areas.
And those principles of wealth creation are universal. So if they do make a Cambodian dollar, they still can apply the wealth creating principles to grow that money.
Right. And so that's why sometimes people say, well, it's financial literacy. Is this product right here? No, it is not a product, man. It's thoughts.
The ability. Say that again. The ability, the idea.
Yeah. When someone says financial literacy is not a product, is the thoughts to be able to create a business, create an idea. Yeah, you create that idea, and you can create ideas, and you can create the thoughts to create money.
I like that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me about the book, sir.
Okay. Joseph, Building Financial Literacy. It says Joseph there. Oh, you can see right there. Joseph. My name just happens to be Joseph, but that's Joseph from Genesis chapter 40. and Joseph was a financier for Egypt, and a lot of the things that he taught in the way he gave Pharaoh um, revelations there. Said 7 years of famine, 7 years of good prosperity. Uh, the economy, the market is always 7 years up, 7 years down, without a doubt. That's how the
Hmm.
market kind of has a structure. It goes up like 7 years up, 7 years down. So uh, you learned that in my book. It talks about the financial literacy and gaining access to economic information, then making use of those concepts. This is the foundation book to understanding why we need to invest as Christians and believers. And if you're not a believer, it's still good for you to learn uh, and how to make use of those concepts. There's two other books that God has placed in me. I've been speaking with this one for a while because I wanted enough people to pick up this book, learn from it, and get the full understanding of why we need to invest. My next book is going to give more detail into understanding investing as a whole, and truly knowing why we need to, not truly understanding the purposeful investments and how to choose them. That's the next book. That's not come. It hasn't come yet, but this one foundational based,
I
and you
like
can get it.
that.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can go to my website, actionablefinancialliteracy.com. When you buy it on my website, you can get a signed copy.
I'm going to pick one up myself. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so as we circle around, one of the things I'm doing with these series of interviews is to give people the opportunity to ask me a question or two of what I'm doing with the No Backboard Basketball League. And the reason I'm doing this is because the vision is broad, it's detailed, and oftentimes everyone is very busy, and if you're not in the inner circle, you may see something here on social media, something there on social media, and you get glimpses, but you may not really know what is he really doing over there. So here's your opportunity. Any question you have with regards to where I've been, what I'm doing, where I think I'm going with this whole effort to build a brand new basketball platform.
Okay. Well, one thing that comes across my mind that if you're playing a ball game with no backboard, it has to increase people's skill level. Is that one of the things that comes from it?
Well, so I like that question. Yes. Now, the ability to improve shooting is a no-brainer. That is the two most often initial reactions I get are either, man, you have to be able to shoot the ball to be able to play on that, or I can't shoot on that, man. I need a backboard. Those are typically the two initial response I get, which reflects the confidence of the person speaking. Um, I so to your point with regards to the shot, I have video testimony, multiple video testimonies of people who've come out and played. Over 100 people have actually played over the years who have come out and played under no backboard basketball hoop, and then the next day go play regular basketball and call to testify on the significant dramatic improvement they experience shooting the basketball. And I think the primary reason is um, the focus, right? That backboard, the subconscious mind picks that backboard up, and subconsciously they know that's a sixth man. That if they shoot it too far, it's going to tip it back into play. And this is validated. And when you watch my most recent content of guys playing in the most recent proof of concept event I did, and some of these guys are semi-pro. They play ABA, they play competitive recreational. You see them take their time before they shoot the ball. They just don't jack it up. But what else came up to my surprise, and I didn't expect this the second time around, and I was using again experienced basketball player, guys who played high school, some college, played semi-pro, was it's going to improve your entire skill set because because there's no backboard, because we play on a shorter court, and because there's no timeouts, and because you can take the ball out the net as soon as it's made and you can play this lot, and because guys aren't jacking up shots, the ball's moving more, the game's a lot faster, so they're passing more, they're dribbling more, and they leverage their IQ more because there's more movement, there's more passing, so there's more decision making taking place. Then when you combine that with the stress of a faster game and there being no backboard, the end result is an improvement in skill. I believe it's the most powerful passive basketball skill development platform available. And I say passive, meaning instead of going through a bunch of drills and using a bunch of cones, etc., you just go play.
Okay.
Just go play and you get better.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Now, I played basketball as a kid a lot, and I do remember some, folks launching the ball up just to hit the
Mm-hmm.
backboard and it goes all over the place. But if you gotta get, get all nets all the time, it focus. You have to focus on making sure you get it in the rim, uh, more so than not. So just by looking at it, I was like, man, and then even if you're trying to get a layup, man, because a lot of people are lazy and use the backboard, they rely on the backboard. But if you have to rely on getting it in the hoop, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right, that's more laser focus you have to have.
Yes, but so and to that, the other side is again the more skilled, more confident athlete. They like the fact there's not a backboard when going to the hoop because now they can go, they can attack it from the front, they can attack it from the back, they can go to the left, they can turn over the left shoulder, they can turn over the right shoulder and attack the rim with it being um, would there be no encumbrance with the backboard there. So
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So great. We are rounding up. I believe we've done about 40 minutes. Um, I'm going to be following up with you, Dr. Joe, with regards to the formation of some curriculum we want to do with these NIL, as well
Okay.
as the new Hoopers Collective. That I'm pulling some resources together to be able to service these athletes in the NIL space. I want to appreciate you. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your comments. Everybody, when you have the opportunity, when you're watching this on replay, make sure you pick up Dr. Joe Blake's book, because my takeaway, Dr. Blake, that's significantly different from what I've heard from anyone else is the focus of the book is not just to give you information, but to give you actionable things you can do that
Mhm.
can be duplicated and scaled to generate the results you want, no matter what particular environment that you're in. Did I capture that? Did I capture that
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Any closing comments?
No, I just again, I like to help people and help them get the things that they need in their life. So this has been great, Mark. I appreciate you as well.
And where can people find you?
I'm on. You can get me on Facebook at Dr. Joseph Blake Jr. And that's where I have my podcast too. I have my podcast on Saturday mornings at 11. And Actionable
And we're
Financial.
at on LinkedIn, because I see your podcast show up on LinkedIn on Saturday mornings as well.
Yeah, LinkedIn is on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. At
Perfect.
Dr. Joseph Blake Jr. is my is
Okay.
my
And that's
tag.
your tag across all three platforms?
Yeah, that one and Actionable Financial Literacy.
Actionable financial literacy.
Yep.
Excellent. And that's the name of the company. I see founder and CEO. So the name of the company is Actionable Financial Literacy.
Yep.
Solid, solid, solid. Sir, I'll be talking to you soon. I want to thank you very much for joining the show today, and you be blessed.
All right, Mark. Appreciate it.
Take care. Hey, that's my man, Dr. Joe Blake, outstanding financial teacher, committed to helping uh, families and small businesses be able to manage their money and create wealth and understand and learn repeatable actions they can do to be able to scale and create their wealth. I want to thank him for joining us today. And I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the No Backboard Basketball Show, where our objective is to create a new recreational basketball platform that provides new economic opportunities for Black and brown youth, teenagers, and young adults across the United States, and give them opportunity to obtain wealth creating assets in the area of sports. This is Mark T. Armstrong, founder of the No Backboard Basketball League and inventor of Basketball the Remix, modern interpretation of the original game. Appreciate your time. Be blessed. I'll see you at the top.